So our final work.
And that's 1:30, yes.
What? You're like the students. You're kicking me out. Our last work, number 10, area 10. So Jean-Michel Basquiat, horn players. And if you go to Artsy, you have a zoomable image. So this piece is at the Broad right now in LA. So if you go to Artsy, you can zoom in and out of it. It's beautiful, like just beautiful to look at. So here we're looking at Jean-Michel Basquiat, and we're doing a huge jump in time. It's his horn players from 1983, and you know that Basquiat actually died shortly after this. The article in Khan Academy on this piece is written by the expert on Basquiat. So that's one piece that I would say you can trust it. Yeah, you can trust it. And I was like, well, there's stuff I can say about it, but she wrote the book on him. She's my friend and colleague. So,
is there a reason why it's a triptych, sort of?
There are 3 panels.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a triptych because there are 3 panels, right? And it's dedicated to jazz musicians Charlie Bird Parker and Dizzy Diz Gillespie. Hold on. There they are. Right, yeah. I did not do a big cheeks one because I was like, I want you to see his face, but the internet dropped, so we can't really see it very well. So Basquiat's work is usually described as a neo-expressionist. He's a self-taught artist from New York. He's of Haitian and Afro-Puerto Rican descent, raised in New York City. So a lot of times he gets categorized as African American, but he has a very complex cultural background that in some pieces he'll make references to words in French and Spanish, bringing up his parents, right, his upbringing. Here we have him bringing, let me put some keywords up. It's the wrong computer. There we go. So some keywords that I wanted to bring up, and there are so many more that we can come up with. But some words. So the first one that I wanted to bring up, because it pops up in the actual work, is ornithology.
The bird.
The bird.
The bird, right? So ornithology makes reference to actually Charlie Parker being known as the bird. Ornithology being the study of birds. Just kind of fun. And Basquiat does a lot of word plays. He writes words, he scratches them out. At times he almost completely erases them. A lot of the text that he's erased has to do with the jazz music that he's making reference. So it almost becomes opaque to people who don't really know much about jazz history. But if you do, you can kind of make things out. So in the first one, right, he says Dizzy Gillespie, and then Charlie Parker, he kind of erased it out. Ornithology's been scratched out. I love how it says do, shu, di, ubi, right? Mm-hmm. So making reference to like scatting. Mm-hmm. So this idea of improvisation is something that he's playing off of jazz music, right? Jazz musicians being so famous for improvisation. And what's funny about improvisation is you have to practice a lot in order to be able to improvise, right? Just nobody can start to improvise. And that's something that we talk about a lot when we talk about Pollock. Pollock makes it want to look like it's just happening, but he's practicing, right? And so jazz musicians, improvisation is really important. And that's something that seems to be played out in Basquiat's own technique, right? He kind of improvises, but things are sort of planned out.
You called Diz Gillespie Diz in your first list, and then here it's Dizzy, and we also see Diz, don't we, at the top?
Yeah, but they call him Diz. So Diz and Bird. are their
Okay.
nicknames.
Oh, I've only ever heard Dizzy Gillespie.
Dizzy, people call him Diz.
Because I'm not one of the people who gets to call him by his nickname. Right? I mean, no, because the people who really knew him would have just called him Diz.
Another term that I want to say is, you probably have seen Basquiat's. Have any of you seen the documentaries or films on him? So he used to sign, when he first started signing, he used to sign as same-o, meaning same old shit. Right, and that's when he started off doing graffiti artwork with his friend. This is before he made it big time. Huh? Who, what?
But as a kid, though, I know he had he was sick sometimes as a child, and he was kind of precocious. And his mom gave him his favorite book in the world was a medical anatomy book. So he puts a lot of anatomy terms in his paintings and his graffiti work.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, but what is a larynx?
A musical instrument.
Yes, right? You need it in order to, yeah. So it is medical terminology, but it's medical terminology that in this specific case is referring back to what he's actually painting. Which is kind of really interesting how he throws in words that seem kind of non-connected, but they
that's
are.
what you just painted. Right above there.
Oh, you think that's an actual larynx?
Yeah, why not?
Probably.
Is samo a word that means same old shit?
Samo was him making, that's how he used to sign.
Right.
Same old, same old.
Samo.
Yeah, it's in the urban.
But that's what he meant.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just looking.
Well,
for
the
letters
Urban
on it.
Dictionary didn't
Yeah.
exist though.
No, he made it up.
Yeah.
That's what it said, and now it's like actually in
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's how he and his friend used to sign back when they used to do graffiti, right?
I
This
was
is
just trying to make
70s
it
and
an acronym,
90s.
And it wasn't working, and I didn't get it that it was just same old, like same. Then you just
Same-o.
fill in the last part. Got it.
Same. Because I'm like making you all curse on video. This piece is pretty big. It's really fun. What else?
How big?
96 by 75.
Yeah, it's big. I forgot to throw in a reference image because
6 by 7.
He was really young when he died, do you know?
he died of a heroin overdose. So, he's considered to be Basquiat's protege.
So when you say
Did I just say Basquiat?
You did.
Basquiat is Basquiat's protege. Warhol's protege. He was making
movies,
little collages, and went and sold one to Warhol. I keep confusing them to Warhol, and Warhol was like, "This kid's kind of awesome." And their relationship's really interesting because some people say that Warhol latched onto him because Warhol was getting older and his career was just kind of on the downward spiral while Basquiat was going up and up and up. And think about this is New York in the 70s and 80s. It's like really gritty. There's underground, lots of drugs. The soaps and people I've read a couple people say that the soap is a reference to like the scrubbing and cleansing, attempting to clean New York City and the subway system because of all the tagging that was going on. The text, that kind of scratchy text on artwork is something that's very characteristic of Basquiat's work. Right? He always has text and a lot, and the scratching off of it is also really common in his artwork. I'm not going to say every work has text, but it's a pretty common characteristic. His work has been compared with Picasso before. Dr. Mendelssohn, why did I just call her Dr. Mendelssohn? Because I know another person who has the same first name. Dr. Segezi actually compares the way in which he's depicting these musicians with Picasso's 3 musicians, which let me see if I can pull it up, but our internet was down.
We know that.
You know that piece?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. There's a kind of almost a cubist take.
Fingers on the left panel. I'm thinking of the Picasso work, like the little fingers on the frets or the music, and then you see the horn.
And don't you just love how he's sketched out the music notes just kind of floating out of the instrument so that you know that it's actually happening. Right, so there's this kind of illustrative, almost childlike quality to it on purpose.
Do you think in the central panel, on top of the Charlie Parker, that block of white, it almost kind of looks like a bird?
It is.
Is
Well,
that
it's
a
got to
bird?
be, doesn't it?
Probably he scratched it out as sort of a bird shape. It wouldn't surprise me if it's on purpose. I don't think I've read any. I haven't read anything on that, but yeah. Anything else? It's so funny.
On the left panel, we've got the red, yellow mask looking, and then we've got the profile. Is that I think it's a profile head in profile.
Yeah, and it's kind of making reference to Picasso specifically. So they're all, but this one specifically is being drawn.
But I was talking about the one left of that.
One left of
The
that.
head's at the top of that one.
This one?
Yeah.
The white one being the profile
White.
picture.
Yeah, that white shape looking like a profile head.
A white shape looking like a profile head.
Just looking at
Yeah,
the yellow
yeah.
red.
Oh, next to him. It's like been scratched out and it looks like there's another figure.
It almost looks like an X-ray photo or something like that, rather than actual something.
Well, that
straight
would
down.
play back into him being interested in the body and medical issues.
I looked at the document, it's Radiant Child.
What did I say? Illuminated child.
Yes, I just. was
Synonym.
looking at The other one online, if that's the one that.
There we
came, so I
go.
just wanted to-
Yes, radiant child. That sounds a lot better than illuminated child. Maybe my documentary will be the illuminated child.
Exactly.
So yeah, he's seen as a very tragic figure. He's associated with kind of with Brooklyn. He would have been hanging out with like Blondie and that kind of crowd. I think he might have even like dated Madonna back when she was starting. I kind of like, right, they associate him with neo-expressionism. It seems like it was very quickly painted. Like when we talk about abstract expressionism, things are seemingly improvised and creative quite quickly. Again, when abstract expressionism, things are very well planned out. They were not quite as improvised as they wanted us to think. There's a lot of experimenting and practicing before. Is there anything else that you want to... it's really interesting how he's connecting back to jazz musicians. He's making references to some of their recordings and of the way in which they produced music, right? So not just playing instruments, but also this scatting.
I have trouble myself
It,
remembering the jazz.
I think he's really showing pride in a lot of his work shows pride in the African community
so
and the
he's...
contributions to pop culture.
Yeah, so he's elevating jazz, which is associated with like African American music developments in the United States. Charlie Parker and so Bird and Diz, my pals, they're considered to be possibly the best jazz players ever, right? So this is kind of an homage. They're kind of portraits of them, right? So these are ways that we can, I guess there's another way that you can talk about these being portraits of the artists. Ornithology makes reference to the study of birds, to his nickname, but it's also one of his records. So I think it was the 1946. Anything else about this piece? Has Basquiat been easy to teach? I think students tend to respond, they love him.
They Yeah, I have some students that were not interested in others that really grabbed onto him.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was friends with people like Keith Haring
I had
and
heard of